Rated M for mature.
Ugh, the smell here. Let's try to handle this quickly. What now? Are you okay? Almost thought I lost you there. Good. Keep strong and eyes open. We're on a different path now. We can finally put an end to this ridiculous prophecy. Yes? Not much. If you read any history, it shows up from time to time, but it's a hard thing to track. As far as I know, though, it's never been held by a vampire. That would be a new one. Auriel is one of the elven gods. He's with the rest of them in Aetherius. The way I've heard it, the sun represents the connection from our world to theirs. Supposedly, the bow draws its energy from the sun itself, which is why it shows up in that prophecy. And that part, I don't know. Once we have it, hopefully it'll be obvious. What happened to this place?
This ain't good. I'm getting out of here.
Care of that?
I'm gonna find whoever did this.
Watch it! Watch it! That's close enough.
I'm going.
You're as
That's enough out of you. I'm no fan of the sun. It would be better than this. careful. I think we may be in for some trouble. Oh, it's on. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. These people. Why would anyone want to set up camp here? Rocks and valley, crevices and hiding places. This is the kind of place where hermits and fanatics dwell. Do you need something?
Yes, I do. Don't tell anyone else, though. My mother had to leave the island for some urgent business one day, so I snuck into her laboratory. You know, to create some potions, test out some necromancy, fiddle around with things I really wasn't supposed to. But one thing did catch my eye. That brandy. I didn't really consider why she even had it there. I just decided to take a small sip. It truly tasted like something else. So I decided to finish the entire bottle in one swig. I absolutely loved it. I was already a vampire at this point though, so don't worry. I didn't pass out, vomit, or anything like that. But when my mother did come home though, she was angry, most definitely. She said it costed a premium, and that it was meant to be a token gift to one of the newer members of my father's court. And as a punishment, I got janitorial duties around the castle for the better part of the month. And even as a vampire, to me, that felt like a long time.
What now?
It does feel kind of normal, but that's from me, speaking as a vampire. Even as I'm undead, or however you put it, I still do feel like a normal person, mostly. I still breathe, feel, and sleep, except now I just have a great desire for blood, and the sun kind of irritates my skin. These symptoms are rather mild, though, not like other vampires who almost burn in the sunlight. So, I'm really just like you mortals in many ways. Hopefully that makes me more relatable.
Yes?
Well, aren't you the romantic one? Alright, but only for a little bit.
I'm okay with the dark, but I've spent more than my share of time in caves already.
Well, even as a vampire, you got me panting like crazy.
What is it? Keep your eyes open here.
Come forward. You have nothing to fear here.
What's that? I can feel some kind of power from it.
I am Knight Paladin Gelabor. Welcome to the Great Chantry of Auriel. Auriel, Alkosh, Akatosh, so many different names for the sovereign of the Snow Elves. I prefer Snow Elf. The name Falmer usually holds a negative meaning to most travelers. Those twisted creatures you call Falmer, I call the Betrayed. Of course, you're here for Auriel's bow. Why else would you be here? I can help you get it, but first, I must have your assistance. I need you to kill Archcurate Vertha, my brother. The kinship between us is gone. I don't understand what he's become, but he's no longer the brother I once knew. It was the Betrayed. They did something to him. I just don't know why Auriel would allow this to happen. They swept into the Chantry without warning, and began killing everyone without pause. The Chantry was a place of peaceful worship. I led a small group of paladins, but we were no match for the betrayed's sheer numbers. They slaughtered everyone and stormed the inner sanctum where I believe they corrupted Werther. He's alive. I've seen him, but something's wrong. He never looks as though he's in pain or under duress. He just stands there and watches, as though waiting. Leaving the wayshrines unguarded would be violating my sacred duty as a knight paladin of Auriel, and an assault on the betrayed guarding the inner sanctum would only end with my death. Yes, let me show you. This structure is known as a wayshrine. They were used for meditation and for transport when the chantry was a place of enlightenment. Prelates of these shrines were charged with teaching the mantras of Auriel to our initiates.
What's that basin in the center signify?
Once the initiate completed his mantras, he'd dip a ceremonial ewer in the basin at the wayshrine's center and proceed to the next wayshrine.
So these initiates had to lug around a heavy pitcher of water. Marvelous. How long would they have to do that?
Well, once the initiate's enlightenment was complete, he'd bring the ewer to the chantry's inner sanctum. Pouring the contents of the ewer into the sacred basin of the sanctum would allow him to enter for an audience with the arch-curate himself.
All that just to end up dumping it out? It makes no sense to me.
It's symbolic. I don't expect you to understand.
So, let's get this straight. We need to do all that nonsense to get into the temples so we can kill your brother and claim Auriel's bow.
I know how it all sounds. But if there was another way, I'd have done it long ago. The only way to get to my brother is by following in the initiate's footsteps and traveling from wayshrine to wayshrine, just as they did. The first lay at the end of Darkfall Passage, a cavern that represents the absence of enlightenment. There are 5 in total, spread far apart across the chantry. Caves? Oh no. The chantry encompasses far more than a few caves, as you'll soon discover. But before I send you on your way, you'll need the initiate's ewer. Once you've located a wayshrine, there'll be a spectral prelate tending to it. They will allow you to draw the waters from the shrine's basin, as if you've been enlightened. This may be the last time we're able to converse. If you have any questions before you leave, I suggest you ask them. Otherwise, all I can do now is grant you my hopes for a safe journey. Questions? I expected as much. They're ghosts of the snow elf priests that tended the wayshrines before being slaughtered by the betrayed. Through the grace of Auriel, they were restored to their spectral form to enable them to continue their duties. I'm afraid in their current form, they still believe the chantry to be an active center of worship. They won't respond to you in any way other than believing that you're an initiate and you're undertaking the journey to the inner sanctum. This is, or was, the epicenter of our religion. Most of the Snow Elf people worshipped Auriel. The chantry was constructed near the beginning of the First Era to provide a retreat for those that wish to become enlightened. Our empire had temples to some of the other deities. Trinimac, Sirabane, Yffrey, and Finister rounded out the rest. But those temples paled in comparison to the glory of the chantry and its wayshrines. Oh yes, they were an important part of the process here. They represented the steps the initiates took on the path to total enlightenment. Sadly, the magic used to construct these wonders were lost long before I arrived here. We were once a wealthy and prosperous society that occupied a portion of Skyrim. Unfortunately, we were constantly at war with the Nords, who claimed the land as their ancestral home. In a manner of speaking, we had always maintained an uneasy alliance with the underground-dwelling dwarves, and when faced with extinction, we turned to them for help. Surprisingly, they agreed to protect us, but demanded a terrible price. The blinding of our race. There were splinter groups that resisted the agreement, and even some that sought alternate alliances. But when it was all said and done, those elves were either slaughtered, vanished, or gave up and took the dwarves' bargain. I've often asked myself that very same question. The blinding of my race was supposedly accomplished with a toxin. Certainly not enough to devolve them into the sad and twisted beings they've become. The Chantry is quite isolated, so it took some time for word of the dwarves' offer to reach us here. By the time the compact had been completed, it was too late for us to even attempt to intervene. Correct. We only numbered perhaps 100 at the time, so our presence remained a secret to the dwarves and the Nords. Ironically, our undoing came at the hands of our own people. Yes, they swarmed the Chantry in vast numbers until we were completely overrun. We never really stood a chance. I assume that the Archcurate was corrupted by them when they found a way to breach the inner sanctum. Verther and myself are the only two snow elves that remain. May Auriel watch over you.
What now?
Questions? I expected as much.
That wasn't as unpleasant as I thought it would be. Kind of soothing, actually. I feel a little warmer now. Oh, what is it?
Which one?
Yes?
I have, actually. And if I wasn't an adventurer now, I would probably be running a shop or two. Maybe even a conglomerate, if the divines would permit. Ever since I was a child back on the island, I'd particularly be interested in the merchants that would come to our castle every now and then. Of course, these were weird merchants, to say the least, with peculiar and eccentric collections. These vendors make even Belethor look weird. My father was kind of into those things, though. I mean, it wasn't anything particularly weird for someone who fancied himself as vampire royalty, and who also was a staunch Daedra worshipper. Point is, there was just something in how these men sold and marketed their products. Kinda made me interested in the whole shopkeeping thing. Weird shopkeeping things, but still.
What now? Where'd you come from? That's enough out of you. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. Oh, it's on. That'll teach you. It's on. That's enough out of you. it's on. You're mine! Done and done. Oh, it's on. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. Oh, all right. What is it?
All right, here goes. A special song for you. I'm sure you know it. Our hero claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes with a voice-wielding power of the ancient Nord art. Believe, the Dragonborn comes. It's an end to the evil of all Skyrim's foes. Beware, for the darkness has passed and the legend yet grows. You'll know the Dragonborns come.
Oh, what is it?
I love you too. Knew it.
I'll come with you wherever you want to go. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. words you... I'm glad you're here. This is the kind of thing I've been wanting to see. Makes everything else worth it. What now?
You're such a sweet talker. I was wondering when you'd ask. I don't know what it is, but having sex with you never gets old.
I'll be keeping an eye on you.
Welcome, Initiate. This is the wayshrine of illumination. Are you prepared to honor the mantras of Auriel and fill your vessel with his enlightenment? Then behold Auriel's gift, my child. May it light your path as you seek tranquility within the inner sanctum.
Just you and me against the world now. This is incredible. It's like a whole other world. Come on, the bow has to be in this valley somewhere.
Welcome, Initiate. This is the Wayshrine of Sight. Are you prepared to honor the mantras of Auriel and fill your vessel with his enlightenment? Then behold Auriel's gift, my child. May it speed your journey to the inner sanctum.
Let's get indoors. Or in a cave. Anywhere, just out of this. More spiders? I like the ones back home better. That's enough out of you. Are you seeing this? It's fantastic. This is the kind of thing I've been wanting to see. Yes?
Sarana, this veil is as beautiful as you are. Pale white snow, like the vampiric skin on your body. Cold to touch, just as you are. A bit eccentric, but that's why I like you. That kind of thing might not work with a lot of other girls, but it sure does work with me. In a way. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be head over heels for you. And with that, I mean it. Come here, you swit. Wow. Thank you for that. I just realized that I haven't been as hungry lately while I've been with you. It's strange. The one thing that I need to keep me alive, I no longer have a burning desire for. You're smart. What do you think? Come on, let's go, my love cow.
You've reached the wayshrine of learning, Initiate. Are you prepared to honor the mantras of Auriel and fill your vessel with his enlightenment? Auriel bless you, child, for you are a step closer to the inner sanctum and everlasting wisdom.
Almost doesn't even look real, you know? Do you need something? Enough out of you. The bow has to be in the sky, so. If we open that one, we'll be able to move down this valley a lot faster.
You've arrived at the wayshrine of resolution. Are you prepared to honor the mantras of Auriel and fill your vessel with his enlightenment? Then go forth, child. May the enrichment of Auriel strengthen your resolve as you undertake your journey to the inner sanctum.
faith in the soul care for eternity. Seems awful, like they're still suffering. What now? Yes? What did you need?
I mean, there's a lot. But the first that comes to mind is the real Berenzia. It's quite drawn out, but it is still very interesting. There's none quite like it. It's a biography, but the material is... let's say it's a bit... eccentric. It's not very often that you get to read about barbed penises. And I never have, until now at least. The events of the book supposedly took place years after I was locked up. Back home, the castle certainly hasn't aged well. But at least someone's been updating our family library. I think it might be better if you read it for yourself. That is, if reading about royal espionage, debauchery, and promiscuous sex is your thing. And I don't want to spoil too much, but Tiber's septum got her pregnant.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
The moment I met you, I knew your blood had some power to it. Turns out you have the literal blood of a god. Who would have figured? I've also noticed that your shouts, or whatever you call it, can be rather loud and uncomfortable. You probably don't feel it, but just try not to hit me the next time we get into a fight with some people, okay? I definitely would not like getting blown halfway across the continent of Tamriel. Are you even taking this seriously? I also wouldn't like to accidentally drain you to a pulp. Good. Glad we sorted that one out.
Yes? Oh, what is it?
I've told you this before, back before I was, you know, trapped in a coffin for who knows how long. The College of Winterhold was the first place I'd go for any magical or historical thing. Unlike a lot of guilds, this one is actually pretty old. It's as old as, if not older, than I am. It and Winterhold are kind of in a sorry state right now, though, which wasn't the case before. Did you know that Winterhold used to be a much bigger, bustling city? It's alright. I can't really expect you to know, because you certainly weren't around back then. And I was also quite the bookworm. I mean, there's nothing better to do when you grow up like I did. Winterhold used to be the capital of Skyrim, way before cities like Solitude and Whiterun. And before Cyrodiil seated an empire, the Nords actually had one of their own. High King Borgus was one of their monarchs, and he came from Winterhold. It's uncertain how his death came to be about, but it happened to be at the same time as the Wild Hunt. It's an ancient ritual of the Bosmer, causing them to transform into a horde of feral beasts. Kind of like werewolves. Not my thing, but it certainly has its appeal to some. Winterhold then saw even more disputes and conflict, but the city always came out on top. Then I wake up centuries later to find out that everything is just gone.
This is incredible. It's like a whole other world. That's enough out of you. Done and done. Not the most solid construction here. About what I expected. Oh, it's on. That's enough out of you. Oh, what is it? I don't think you're going to like it. My family has its problems. We did worship a Daedra, remember? Now, you might already know that Molig Bal is the original source of vampirism. For those willing to subjugate themselves, he will still bestow the gift, but they must be powerful in their own right before earning his trust. The ceremony was degrading. Let's not revisit that. They're better at making traps than they are at making bridges. A strange race, these